Alright, this is Final Christmas number 6 by Van Morrison. I thought I would review this issue and then I tried to read it. So instead, we are doing a review of this Van Morrison comic instead. This is Bullet Girl number 1. In 2006, Van Morrison did a few mini-series like this, which were introducing or reintroducing characters into the DC universe. This one is probably the best one, but that is not enormous praise, because some of them books were unreadable and incomprehensible. This one is really straightforward, and it has some fun ideas and plot beats along the way. Our central character is Alex Bullet. She is Bullet Girl, and what happened was we start in media res, because the artist, Yanick, at the disco, he seems to only do comics that start with tacky narrative stunts like this. But both Alex and her husband, they got covered in this silver coat and skin thing, and they couldn't breathe. But Alex, she was wearing her wedding ring, so her skin underneath that, it wasn't covered with the metal coat and stuff. And the doctors, they take off her ring, and her real skin, it was still exposed under the ring. So that is how she lives. But the husband dies, and the comic that follows makes sure you didn't feel bad for this prick Diana dying. And now it is our originy story. Alex, she is married to her husband, and her husband is trying to create some super science, some magic silver skin, but he is a toxic white male. If anyone earns the title toxic white male, it's this husband. I mean, he has a stunning wife. Like, I'd gone mad to be married to Alex here. And he is just a total wanker. We will get onto his many personality defects and his perversions later. But right now, we see the spoils of his work. He has given a mouse this metal skin. And we also have plenty of Cheesecake of Alex, just to remind us that she is a great character. I think the Bombshell kind of nature, it is an important part of this character. She's meant to be like a Cheesecake character, like a callback to the wartime pin-up girl sort of stuff, but set in the modern day and with this like kind of miserable and dark backstory. I also think her being so kind of sexual and sexualized is why this character doesn't appear in comics anymore. She does make some appearances after this mini-series, but I didn't think she has appeared once since the all New 52 reboot. But yeah, her husband is trash. He's obsessed with age and his wife's age. She is only 27, but he is already telling her how she is getting hard and how she won't look good forever. He also talks about how he wants to make this metal skin thing so that they can be superheroes together who never age, even though Alex outright says that she isn't interested in this idea at all, and she doesn't want the metal skin, and he is just a dick shaft. She deserves so much better than this terrible man. And it's not just him projecting onto her or trying to force Alex to be something else. He just gets worse and worse. So then we have another jump into the present when Alex is looking at herself in the mirror. I didn't even know why they did this jumping back and forth thing. It's the only bit I didn't like about this issue. So now it is full on classic originy story time. Alex, she comes home one day and finds that her husband has stupidly experimented on himself and he cannot breathe because of the metal curtain. And maybe this was an honest mistake, or maybe it was intentional. He touches her leg, which causes the silver stuff to spread and start to also cover Alex. And one thing that this issue does that I definitely didn't clock the first time is that there are loads of subtle hints to the husband's secrets, and it's worth having a flick through again after they are revealed in a few pages' time. But these bits in the present show us Alex accepting that even though she never wanted to, she will become a superhero. And this issue is really good for telling a compact originy story for a new character. And that is why I find these asides with her dressing up to be a bit of a bum note. It undercuts the main story. And so the husband, he dies, and the wedding ring thing, that is a big clue. Alex, she was still wearing her wedding ring, which stopped the skin underneath it from being covered in the liquid metal stuff, whereas the husband, he suffocated because he wasn't wearing his wedding ring at the time and there was no skin exposed. So then Alex, she goes to therapy, and therapy in comics, this is usually a lame way to exposit to the audience some stuff about your character. But what we have here is stuff that I think actually does deserve a therapy scene. Firstly, she has apparently tried to kill herself. And secondly, her discoveries about her husband. You see her husband and his obsession with age. Well, it's because he was into pedo super porn. It all starts to add up, and he's just a terrible, terrible cunt. Discovering this, it led Alex to try to kill herself, but before she could, she wound up bumping into a local fire, and in a classic superhero mold, she saves the people trapped in the burning building, and this stops her from killing herself. And so she decides to become a new superhero called Bullet Girl, a silver-skinned babe in a corset. I think this is a really good story. I just wish it didn't do the whole framing sequence around the flashbacks. I would enjoy it so much more if it was just getting from point A to point B. I didn't think seeing her looking at herself in a mirror adds any new context to the stuff what we see. Rather than focus on that one element I didn't like, I will say this does everything else right. We have a really likeable main character. Alex is a nice person, and she has all these horrible things happen to her, but she still comes out of it being a good person. I mean, she teaches autistic kids. We have an interesting mystery reveal thing with a crap husband. Even that stuff, it's kind of new territory for superhero comics. You never usually have that much of a look at, like, this sort of seedy person or seedy content outside of having Punisher shoot a bunch of them in the face. Doing this channel and thinking about Van Morrison's comics has really made me sour on him as a writer, but I think this comic deserves 7 thumbs up.